This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Wednesday, the 9th of October. A disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay. I was saying this morning in the on the pre-market webinar that the head and shoulders are in trouble, and that it was likely that we were going to see retests of the highs on NDX and SPX, and very possibly Dow as well. So we've seen that high retest, and what I was hoping to see, I was noticing that we've got firm resistance at this trend line here, which I'm not expecting to see broken, or if we are, I'm expecting it to see an overthrow before we see a decline. And what I was hoping to see was some negative divergence. Here is some negative divergence. A possible 60-minute sell signal is brewing. I'm still thinking it might go a little higher tomorrow morning, but I think there's a pretty good chance it's going to turn after that and may well turn on a number of decent sell signals. NQ has gone higher, haven't quite retested the high, became really close on the RTH chart, and we got a possible 6-minute sell signal brewing there too. RTY doing its own thing, broken over declining resistance here, but it hasn't broken over declining resistance as yet on IWM, so I'm not treating that as a flag that's breaking up, although it does look very like a flag for me on IWM. YM, we saw a strong move up here. This actually hadn't really done much yesterday, but it more than made up for it today, and it came pretty close to a high retest here, and I'm thinking we're probably going to see the high retests on Dow and NQ, and we will very possibly get some nice sell signals to go down on, which would be a good setup. I was saying when I was talking about the head and shoulders initially that they would either form and play out, or we'd see a retest of the high, and we had a pretty good opportunity to turn right there. Now, what I would say is, on a more bullish note, we've got a double bottom which is broken up on DAX, which would have a target back at a retest of the last high, and we're well short of that. And ESTX, we've also got a double bottom which is trying to break up, which would have similar targets, basically back at a retest of the last high. All right, let's have a look at the RTH charts. Right, looking at SPX, on the 15-minute chart, we got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Nothing really much to see on the RSI 14 here. We're actually still on an RSI 14 sell signal, which just is notable for having not failed yet, despite going up significantly since we made it. We are within the wedge here. I've got resistance probably another 20 points higher, 25 points higher maybe, so we could go a little higher. We've got a possible hourly RSI 5 sell signal brewing. Looking at the bigger picture, obviously we're still on daily sell signal and on ES. We were pretty close to resistance, testing the resistance trend line, but it's the one on SPX that I'm looking at. So not much to see really. We held on the bigger picture. We tested the daily middle band and we held it, and we're back up at the daily upper band. What I was saying the other day was, until we break down below the daily middle band and can sustain the break, we're not going to see much of a retracement, obviously, at all. And this was a decent back test of the daily middle band, and it is held. Does that mean that the weak RSI 5 sell signal is not going to make target? No, it should still make target, but obviously it just hasn't had the opportunity to do so yet. All right, looking at NDX, on the daily chart, we didn't have a sell signal. We held the daily middle band, and we're back at the daily upper band. The bands are narrowing considerably, so it wasn't a terribly long trip. On the hourly chart, we've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. We don't have a strong rising wedge setup here. We've got a couple of options, but we'll see. Mainly, we would need it to be defined by testing the support trend line. On the 15-minute chart, we've again got an RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Dow, still very much on a daily RSI 5 sell signal. We are getting pretty close to the daily upper band as well. Again, held the daily middle band like a champ. And in an ongoing uptrend, the daily middle band is first place you're looking for it to hold. No divergence worth a mention on the hourly chart. We came pretty close to a retest of the high here today. I've got a suspicion that's to be sorted out tomorrow morning, and then we'll see whether these will have any play as double tops. However, the first thing they're going to have to do as double tops is break down below the daily middle band. So in terms of the 15-minute here, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal brewing and an RSI 5 sell signal brewing. All right, looking at IWM. IWM, no current divergence, really barely on the same planet, really. But we're not close to the break over this this pretty decent looking bull flag. I would have that break at about the 220.8 area. Looking at the hourly chart, no divergence, of course. We never had a sell signal here. Well, I've got a very old one, but we didn't have any recent sell signal. We didn't have one particularly on the RSI 5. So we'll see. I would note that we've got two previous RSI 14 sell signals here, and both of those made at least the possible near miss target. This may well too, but I mainly watch the RSI 5s for him, so we'll see. Here we've got a slightly different story on the daily middle band, because of course it's not been holding the daily middle band. It's been testing it for a few days, but basically we spent the whole day below it today. So IWM working to a different drum, really. DAX, I'm wondering about a retest of the high. That's not going to set up a new sell signal, because we've actually, that could set up a new daily RSI 5 sell signal. Weekly RSI 5 sell signal. We're already on a weekly RSI 14 sell signal. Could it set up negative divergence here on the daily? No. Nice hold of the daily middle band again. On Nikkei, we've had elections and so on. It did hold the daily middle band on the back test, but it's not really been working from the same play sheet as the others. All right, let's have a look at the dollar. Okay, the dollar. Obviously, this has been proceeding up. I've got the target here up. The first target is in about the 102.95 area, and the second target is about 103.05. We're looking pretty good together. So no current negative divergence, and we're obviously pretty close to that target. ZB has been continuing down. I've got more to say about this on the bigger picture charts, so let's have a look at those. All right, so let's have a look at DX. DX, the RSI 14 buy signal has reached the possible near miss target. At this low, of course, we had an RSI 14 and an RSI 5 buy signal, and both of those have now pretty much made target. Looking at the US dollar index, the RSI 14 buy signal has reached the possible near miss target and is very close to the full one. In terms of the double bottom target, I've actually got that a bit higher than I've got on the futures. I've got that in about the 103.5 to 104.1 area. Am I thinking we might make that target? Yeah, I am. And I've drawn in the trend lines for the pattern we may be forming on the bigger picture. And that resistance trend line is currently at about the 104.9 area, 104.8, I think. So I'm thinking we may well make that target. Do we have any positive divergence on the weekly? We do. Now, we're reaching the possible near-miss target area on the RSI 5 buy signal, but we've also got an RSI 14 buy signal. Historically, we've got three previous ones on the chart. All of them made target. RSI 5-1, I think we might have, no, I don't think we had any failed ones actually. That's so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of these previously at least made the possible near miss target. Most of them made the full target actually. That's and this one has as well. So solid signals. This is why I was looking very much for this potential double bottom, which is now quite a lot of the way to target when it was developing. All right, let's have a look at the TNX chart. On the weekly chart, we've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed, and we're getting pretty close to target. On the daily chart, we had an RSI 14 buy signal fixed, and that's made target. We also had an RSI 5, and obviously that's long since made target, and looking a bit long in the tooth on the RSI 5. So where are we here? Well, technically, we've actually got a double bottom that's broken up, and I'm watching that with great interest. Now, that's broken up with a target up in the 43.75 to 44.5 area. But, of course, it could fail here. Quite a lot of double bottoms do, could reject back into the low. We could see a period of consolidation before it goes higher. What I would say is we've definitely got the divergence for it. That's a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing on the hourly, and that's a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing on the hourly. I am wondering about at least a consolidation here, possibly a full reversal. I'm slightly skeptical. I would love to see, don't get me wrong, I would love to see this possible bull flag breakup and see a return to 49.97. But with interest rates coming down and inflation not appearing to go up, or at least not so far, I'm a little skeptical about it making that target. Certainly, I would be very interested to see that, and I think we could set up a beautiful double top if we did see that. But as I said, I'm skeptical, but I'm willing to be persuaded. And we have already made it up from 36 to about 41. So that's 6 gone and only another 9 to go. But that 9 is quite a long stretch. So, as I said, a bit skeptical. We'll see. All right, looking at CL, we saw a big reversal here. We've got a marginal lower low, 60-minute positive divergence, and we got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. Looking for a bit of a rally here. NG is trickling down. We've had positive divergence on the hourly chart for a couple of days, and it's trickling down, and I will have a quick look at the bigger picture charts where, well, let's do oil first, but oil is making it back to the test of the daily middle band. I've got the daily middle band. No, it's the Keltner it's at the moment. It's but it's thinking of testing the daily middle band, which I've got at 70.73. No negative divergence here, and we're not going to get any unless we go back and retest this high at 78.48. 46, which is now looking quite a long way away, actually. So I'm a little doubtful about seeing that. Looking at the bigger picture chart, we are still looking at this triangle, and I'm planning to do a post about it tomorrow if I've got time. But I'm still looking for this triangle target at 63.57. I mean, obviously we've got some trouble in the Middle East, but that permitting, and obviously with a pretty nasty looking fail at the 200 DMA at 77.21, that permitting, when I read about oil at the moment, the word I read probably most often is glut. I still think that's wide open. Hopefully, news won't just send it into the stratosphere. But at the moment, I'm not thinking. Well, I'm thinking this still has a pretty good shot at making that. We'll see whether it can get back below the daily middle band. On nat gas, we had an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, and that's made target. Well below the daily middle band. On the bigger picture, what I think is happening here is we've got an RSI 5 sell signal on the index, which is made target. We've got an RSI 14 sell signal, which is also fixed. But this is the updated triangle. Now to move around a little, I moved the top of the trend line from here to here, but it's still a very nice looking triangle. So I redrew the arrows, and at the moment we're following the arrows. Is this triangle going to play out? Well, I think it might, yeah. In which case, we're going to have a hell of a buy opportunity when we get down to the retest of 1.5, which I have to say is a very, very nice support level, and would set up a beautiful double bottom with resistance in the 3.16 area. So that would be a double bottom to take it back up into about the 4.7 area. That would be a nice move. We'll see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a look at GC. GC. Still looks like a bull flag. We've got a possible 60-minute buy signal in brewing, and actually, I think it might have actually fixed since I was editing this chart tonight. It's pretty close anyway. SI might be looking at a rally here. It's broken down from a nice looking double top, where it looks like a bear flag forming though. So that's got targets basically around the 29-25 area. On HG, this still looks like a bull flag. I was talking about this morning. It's gone a little lower since, slightly through the trend line I drew. I like it. It's a nice looking bull flag, and bull flags typically will break up sooner rather than later. That is obviously partially dependent on the dollar. We will see. All right, let's have a look at metals on the bigger picture charts on GC. No current divergence, but you'll note we are back below the daily middle band today, so it's going to be interesting to see whether that holds as resistance. Same on the gold index. Do I have an obvious trend line target? Got to go with no, not really. So we'll see how it goes. No signals either. We will see. This is just basically a pullback from a pretty overbought level. So it hasn't really done anything fundamental yet. There are some indications we might go lower, but equally, some of the things I was looking at look as though they might be coming to a halt. The RSI 5 sell signal that fixed on silver has made target. It's broken down from this double top here, but as I said, doesn't have to make that target. On palladium, nice move up today, and we're back testing the daily middle band. If it can get over that, then this could resume the uptrend. On platinum, broken down from a double top here. I'm not liking the look of this, actually, because the target for that double top would be a move basically down to retest this low here at 912.50. Maybe, but if we see the rest of the metals turn up, we'll see how that goes. Copper. Didn't have any divergence here when it broke down. We'll see how it goes, but it looks an awful lot like the bull flag. I haven't drawn the flag in on here, but it looks pretty much like it. And we have seen a break below the daily middle band today, so I'm watching to see whether that rejects back up tomorrow. We will see. I've got that in the 4.44 area. Right, GDX. We had an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. That hasn't made target. The obvious trend line target hasn't quite been made yet, and I've got that currently in about the 37.4 area. Do we have any positive divergence? Yes, we've got both RSI 14 and RSI 5 buy signals fixed on the alley, and the same goes for GDXJ. In terms of GDXJ on the daily, the sell signal which fixed at the same time has made target too, and the obvious support trend line would be in the 44 area, and that hasn't been hit yet. It's quite a nice trend line, doesn't need to be hit, but I was pleased to see these sell signals that I called a few days ago make target. We'll see how it goes from here. All right, great. Now, just picking up on a couple of currencies as we go. Euro has gone a long way down to go if it's going to make this target. So that is suggesting that DX has got higher to go. USD CAD obviously would be going up with US dollar, and this has a long way to go up if it's going to make this target. Haven't got as far on DX to make this target, but yeah, I'm thinking that's good. I'm thinking that's in play, and that's got a chance of making target. DX may not be turning anytime soon. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities. KC. KC has broken down from a large double top. Keeping an open mind on direction here, seeing a bit of a rally at the moment. You quite often see that after a breakdown, and then it just continues down. So that's not bullish. SB, this still looks like a bull flag forming. CC finally broke up from this double bottom setup, which had been brewing for days. The 60-minute buy signal has reached target. We'll see how it goes from here. But I've got, it's testing the weekly pivot at the moment, but the target up here is in the 75.50 area. I'm not currently seeing any reason to think that won't make target. CW, consolidating sideways while the other two go down. Corn, trying to break down from a head and shoulders here. That would have a target in about the 408 area. On soy, this broke down from a double top, and that's got a target in the 1000 to 1004 area, and that hasn't been made yet. We're on a 60-minute buy signal, which hasn't delivered a great deal so far, but we'll see. We might have a little double bottom here, but I'd like to see a bit more of a rally and then continuation down to that target. Looking at CT, this looks like an overall bull flag forming. Lumber is rejecting back up into this high here, so we should be seeing a retest of the 538 area shortly. Live cattle, this is a possible little double top, and we are on a 60-minute sell signal, not showing much sign of wanting to break down below the weekly pivot though. We'll see. If we do see that break, I'd have a target about the 184.375 area. And on lean hogs, back testing the weekly pivot at the moment, the 60-minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. And on KC, no current divergence. Pretty close to a test of the rising support here, so but didn't actually quite make it. We'll see. That could hold, although I don't really have an obvious corresponding trend line. We'll see. Looking at sugar, we had a sell signal that's pretty much made target. We're testing the daily middle band. That could hold. CC. Breaking up slightly, didn't have any positive divergence at the low. Could this be forming a head and shoulders? No, not really. So it's only really against the trend from here or arguably here. In either case, it would be too large. I'm leaning more towards the upside here. On wheat, RSI 14 buy signal has reached the possible near miss target. Nice back test. So we've still got an open target above in the 643 area, and I'm thinking we may be consolidating sideways before we reach that. On corn, no sell signal at the moment. The RSI 14 buy signal has reached the possible near miss target. We're seeing a bit of a pullback at the moment. Nothing to suggest it's much larger than that. Watching support at the daily middle band of 417. On soy, we had an RSI 5 sell signal on the daily here. That's made target. We're back below the daily middle band, watching to see how far it goes from here. But if this is just a technical retrace, then we may well be resuming the upside soon. On CT, we had an RSI 5 sell signal. That's reached the possible near miss target. This looks like a bull flag forming. It's trying to hold on to the daily middle band, lost it slightly at the moment. If this is a flag, it should recover it quickly. And that is a wrap. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. It's certainly been an interesting week, and it should be an interesting next few days as well. I'm particularly interested in what happens on the dollar and what happens on metals here. It's although ZB is pretty interesting, and we've got a very, very interesting setup potentially brewing on equities, because if we can get nice looking series of little level tops with a series of nice looking sell signals on the ES, NQ, and YM charts, then we could see that decline I've been waiting for and maybe make those daily sell signal targets, or at least the possible near miss target, which is what I'm waiting for. I'm thinking we've got much of the rest of October to do that. We've got another 3 weeks or so. We shall see. But I'm liking the setup to do that. We'll see whether it happens. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.